Alright, welcome back to the Corporate Age, the podcast where we unpack the latest trend reshaping modern businesses. I'm your host, Faqih. Today we are tackling a massive current issue in talent acquisition, where the rapid decline of the traditional university degree requirement. To help us break down the data, we have today HR talent consultant and strategy expert Dr. Muhammad Abdul Khalid in the studio with us. Please welcome, Doctor. Thanks for having me, Faqih. It's great to be here to talk about what is arguably the biggest structural shift in recruitment since the invention of the online job board. Let's dive right in. For decades, requiring a bachelor's degree was a standard practice for corporate jobs. Why is this suddenly becoming a major issue for modern HR departments? Well, it boils down to what we call the proxy trap. Historically, talent acquisition relied on degrees as a shortcut, a proxy to assume someone was capable. But in today's tight labor on degrees on market, this old model is creating a massive talent shortage. Organizations are realizing that a piece of paper doesn't automatically equal job performance, and they are lacking out incredible self-taught or non-traditional educated talent. So the trend is moving toward skill-first sourcing, hiring people for what they can actually do. But this isn't just a trend popular on social media. You've been looking closely at some heavy academic research on this, right? Exactly, Faqih. We have to look at the data. I've been analyzing a brilliant 2026 study published in the Advanced International Journal of Academic Multidisciplinary Research. The researchers conducted a deep industry shift analysis on organizations that officially dropped degree requirement. And what did the data show? Well, the findings were staggering. First, organizations that transitioned to a skills-first approach saw on an average 56.7% expansion in their available talent pools. By simply removing that single line bachelor's degree requirement from their job description, they opened the floodgates to highly qualified, diverse applicants. Wow, nearly a 60% increase. That completely changes the game for recruiters who complain they can't find talent. Precisely. Furthermore, the academic literature noted a significant reduction in time to fill metrics. Instead of recruiters spending months hunting for a rare candidate who checks every credential box, they focus purely on matching a core skill to the job requirement, speeding up the entire cycle. Okay, this sounds like a win-win, but as we know in HR, changing a system is never seamless. What is the actual issue or bottleneck that talent acquisition teams are hitting when trying to implement this? This is where the critical analysis comes in. You can't just delete the degree requirement and change nothing else. The 2026 study explicitly warned that the single biggest point of failure in this initiative is a lack of validated assessment methodologies. If you don't use a degree to filter out 500 applicants, how do you verify who actually has the skills? Right, because anyone can write a skill on a resume. Exactly, so companies turn to automated skill testing platforms. But the literature highlights a secondary issue here: algorithmic and human bias. If an HR teams relies solely on soft skills like adaptability, leadership, and emotional intelligence, which are much harder to measure digitally. And what about the human element? I imagine hiring managers themselves might still be stuck in their old way of thinking. You hit the nail on the head. The research calls this legacy manager bias. Even if the talent acquisition team sources a brilliant comfort zone during the interview, favoring candidates who went to elite university, it requires massive cultural training. So, if you are advising a talent acquisition director today who wants to, let's say, transition to skills first sourcing successfully, what is the roadmap? Based on the empirical evidence, it requires a clear three-step framework. The first is multi-measure assessment. Don't just rely on one technical test. Combine hard skill challenges with behavioral and situational judgment tests to ensure you are getting a holistic view of the candidate. The second one is blind auditing. Standardize the initial screening process so names, schools, and past company pedigree are hidden, forcing a hiring manager to judge applicants strictly on assessment score. And the third one is continuous training. Educate hiring managers on how to interview for competencies rather than backgrounds. Fascinating. It sounds like the future of talent acquisition is about moving away from a candidate's history and focusing strictly on their actual potential. Well said, Faqih. In 2026, the best talent acquisition teams aren't looking for the most polished resume, they are looking for the best problem solvers. Thank you so much for sharing these insights and walking us through the latest research today. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And to our listeners, if you want to dig deeper into the academic source mentioned today, check out the reference details listed in our show notes below. Until next time, stay strategic.